Hello, grand day, everybody, and welcome to this first episode of the Friday Expedition. I am Mrs. ChristoLight, Sacred Light Healing and Wellness, and my co-host over there. I'll go ahead and let him introduce himself.
Sure thing. Welcome. Right. My name is Jana. I go under Magic Jana here on socials. And yeah, I'm just so grateful to share what we're sharing. And the Friday expedition seems like a journey. So let's go.
Yeah, and as we go through these episodes and explore different topics, we're going to be ranging from different conscious, holistic, and esoteric topics. So this can range from a wide variety of different things. This can be things out of different scriptures and text. This can be things going over the multidimensional human being. This can also be things as well as like chakras and meditation, as well as other different practices and modalities that you guys can pick up on in your everyday life to utilize for a healthier well-being. Along with that, we'll also be sharing stories and experiences, as well as some other relatable things to help you guys get a deeper understanding of who we are as our individual selves in these journeys, as well as what it is that we serve, experience, and go through in our lives. So, without further ado, we're now in episode 1 of the Friday Expedition. How are you feeling today over there, brother?
Very grateful. It's the gratitude that I experience is heightened these days, and life comes with its challenges, and learning to be grateful in the moment and enjoying the process and being able to listen what my inner guidance is saying and guiding me towards and helping me to innerstand, as you say so beautifully. It's a day-to-day job. It's nothing that you do today and leave tomorrow. It's really something that it's time to be honest with myself and take myself one step at a time, rather than trying to be somewhere different, which I also had the experience back in the past. So really enjoying the moment, no matter what, no matter how horrific it is, no matter how weird, no matter how much strangeness is going on, and just the world can reflect all sorts of things back to you, right? The good and the bad, and learning to navigate with love and compassion it's a journey, and it really takes courage, I feel, to be compassionate, to be loving, and show up as a space holder for those who seek love, who want to be seen, who want to be heard, right, and listened to, as we all are. So this is where I'm at.
It's a very beautiful space to be in, and it sounds like there might have been quite a bit of journeys and shadows for you to work with to get to that type of state. And one thing I'd like to ask you for everybody out there is, what's one of the ways that you bring yourself to balance, or that you're able to ground and clear yourself when facing adversity in your day-to-day life?
What changed was like, if I go into my childhood or young adulthood, I would have said it's smoking pot. But you know, when I found to meditation and Reiki, this is usually like, it's something that you can always do. It's not something that you just do in the morning or in the evening. Like there are energies, like universal energies, that I learned to tap in whenever I need it. When I find myself drifting away, then I can remind myself to those energies, and then I can get centered right away. And because of having experienced it before, and sitting in a meditation, really learning to clear my channel and being receptive and listening to what my inner guidance is telling me, how I feel, you know. Once the heart is awakened and your energy can flow freely, even through your central channel, right? You can tap into that. And it does not mean that you have reached enlightenment or whatever. It's a constant quest, and it's, you know, you can be in those enlightened states easily through this, but how can you integrate them in this world when you still have to deal with the shadow, you know, when you have to deal with those things that, you know, your ego or the ego mind identity, the thing that you created, don't want to look at. So meditation, you know, breath, but more importantly, an open heart, because I found that the breath is following automatically when my heart is open. So the power of the heart is the most important one in my personal experience. You know, I've done lots of breath work, which helped me centering many times. You know, I just counted numbers in my mind, and we're breathing in for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seconds and exhaling for the same amount, just like focusing on my breath, counting numbers, becoming aware of the energy flow on my central channel, you know, chakra breathing. Or, you know, today or yesterday I had to deal with some back pain as an example. So it's not that the back pain is constantly there, it's just there when I'm kind of out of my body, or when I'm not fully aware of what I'm doing and some unconscious programming is taking over. So feeling the pain, you know, and learning to breathe it into and to send some love towards it, and learning to channel that energy along the spine is definitely helping me to release the pain, to ease the pain, to listen to what it's telling me, like how it's helping me actually stepping more into my power, you know. So I learned that, you know, physical pain is always a reminder for me to be in my power and to take responsibility for myself in the now. So what happened, okay, yeah, you know, I can learn from, but now I have to do something with what I've learned, with where I'm at, and consciously create the future through my current energy, you know, my current frequency that I hold, and how I speak, what I feel, what I intend. And yeah, you know, breath, open heart, meditation, those things. If you want to go to the sauna helps as well. Exercising, going out in nature, going barefoot on the grass. There's so many things that you can do to center and to find back and be one with nature, right? Mm.
Wonderful, man. Wow. Thank you for sharing that variety of techniques and ways that you utilize. I definitely use quite a bit of those as well. And one of my biggest things that has really continued to help me to remain consistent as well as have efficient and effective energy for long periods has been my routines daily. And my routines begin as soon as I wake up. As soon as I wake up, before I even get out of bed, I do a 10 to 15-minute chakra balance meditation. So then after I do that chakra balance, I then have the clearing of any debris in my energy field. Along with that, I'm also starting to awaken and kickstart the energy centers, which then affect the organs in the body, as well as other aspects mentally and emotionally. And then after that, I'll then go into a yoga practice for about 10 to 15 minutes directly after. And then that yoga practice, I intentionally do it so I can, number one, ground myself into my physical body. Number two, start activating my light body and then integrating it into my physical. And then number three, to help clear out any mental clutter or anything that could be racing in my mind. And then having these two practices in routine every rising has really helped me be able to have a solid foundation as well as a true basis for my being to be able to work off of mentally, emotionally, and physically going into my day. Um, Something that I kind of go through with people that I do my life coaching or life guidance with is I help them break down what their days look like. And with that breakdown, I have them fill out a sheet. And with that sheet, they fill out what they do each hour. So each hour of the day, they're writing down what they're doing. And the reason why we do such a tedious thing like this is because it allows us to start breaking down as well as taking a deeper look consciously and more presently at how am I using every hour of the day? How am I utilizing my being? How am I using my focus? What am I consuming? And what am I doing every hour of the day? And then through this analyzing, we're able to see like, oh, okay, maybe during this space, I could actually insert 15 minutes of a meditation or 15 minutes of breath work and then go back to this next activity instead of just going from one activity to the other without a break or without a reset when we're feeling fatigued or tired or we're feeling like we've absorbed too much energy. And instead of just taking that on and then just playing you know, the tough masculine energy of, oh, I'm just gonna carry this energy and just suck it up and just go with the day. It's okay to be feminine, you know. We can drop into that feminine energy and we can be like, oh, I have a 10-minute break. Okay, during this 10-minute break, I'm gonna give myself space to do a meditation, or I'm going to do some breath work real quick. And then through that, we're able just to reset our channels, clear out that debris and that density, and get ourselves back to a clear place. So it's also been very helpful too for like single mothers, parents, and others taking a look at this, because a lot of times they're just so caught up in what's going on with the world and their children and everything else, that they can't get that full clarity state of what does my day look like, because there's so much going on that they're tied into. But when I sat with a few of them and helped them look, sometimes it's maybe getting up just 10 minutes earlier in the morning before we get the children ready for school. Just 10 minutes earlier, giving that to ourselves, doing a practice, and then getting the kids ready for school. Finding that gap between, you get off work, you get home, the kids aren't home from school yet. So in that gap period, that could be a gap period where you can do something for your own self-care. So things like that have been really big for me, just really staying multidimensional, staying present, and trying not to see my day as finite when it comes to the events throughout the day. Because I feel like when I see my day as like a finite day of like, okay, I have this on the schedule and I have this on the schedule, and then I start thinking like that's my day. And when I get outside of that finite thinking, then I start getting into that complex, multidimensional thinking of like, okay, yes, I have that event coming up, but I have a 3 to 4 hour gap period where I can use that consciously. So that's been pretty big for me. What do you think about that type of stuff, routines?
Essential that, we learn to, like, a routine for me is also very ritualistic. Having rituals during the day, having some practice, having, doing things that really help you, and like you can support yourself with those things, right? For me, it's writing. For me, it's also breath work. It's, some morning movement, what I do. Like, I think there have been less than a handful of days in the last 2 years that I haven't moved in the morning. So, and this was due to physical conditions and just allowing myself to be, and it's so important. Like the morning, I told this someone a few months ago as well, the director of the hotel that I'm currently working in as a therapist. I told him, like, it's as easy as like 5 minutes before you go to bed and 5 minutes when you wake up to create a massive shift in your day and night, So it's nothing that you have to tell yourself, okay, I need to wake up at 4, I have to meditate for an hour, I have to write for half an hour, and those types of things. For me, it's more about being fluent, and really, I learned to feel the feelings I want to feel when I wake up. So the first hour or two, I just see, what do I need to do? What can I give to myself to feel the feelings that I want to feel? Because the rest of the day is so much more easy, because you already checked all of the things that you want to feel. If you do something good for yourself in the morning, you'll be rewarded for the rest of the day. And you mentioned taking breaks or not jumping from one activity to the other, which can be difficult at times to do those things, to take a break. But it's as easy as, like, I don't know, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. of just sitting down, closing your eyes, or whatever you do, and just do nothing and be. Listen to a song, or write something down, or do nothing at all, like stare against the wall, like having those, taking time to have those type of rituals for yourself, it's so beneficial. Because if just saying, like, people work from 9 to 5 or longer, many people do work longer, you know, every 3 hours or so you can just like put a reminder on which says breathe. I've done that with myself to get a habit in. You know, I just reminded myself along the day to breathe. Or I put up an affirmation that I'm currently living by, right? That I want to integrate a certain energy, you know? And, you know, an affirmation that I can give, what I've said for the last year, or for like a year now, it's I love myself for who I am, you know? Like, and it's something that, it's a feeling that grows the more you do it. You know, first you may start saying this affirmation and like, yeah, you feel something, but like the more you do it, the more, you know, then we go into discipline. Like, you gotta stay with it, because like you're expanding, like your spirit is growing, you know, your soul is learning, you just become brighter and brighter with like a simple affirmation like that, using it daily, or maybe even a few times a day. You know, I wrote it down so many times in my journal in the last year. It was just harder not to do it than to do it. Yeah, man.
Wonderful examples. You know, affirmations have been a big part of my journey for sure. I started really going deep into affirmations around 2018, 2019, and I added them to my rising routines. So I would do chakra balance, and then I had my own affirmations that I made up, and I would repeat each one 5 times in a row after my chakra balance. Um, and it was really cool because, like, an example of one of those affirmations was, I release all toxic cords and cords that no longer serve me for my most whole and highest purpose. And I remember, like, really feeling the energetic power behind that as I would start to see manifest in my life. People would start just dropping out of my life, and then new people would be coming into my life. And what I felt was the natural feeling of that affirmation coming into truth. And it was really it was like a comforting feeling, with being able to accept the letting go of what was no longer serving, whether it was people, places, or things, or behaviors. And it was a really, really powerful part of my journey. And you know, this is one of my favorite topics, is talking about basically like the subconscious and programming and reprogramming, and how as multidimensional human beings we're designed and created based off the patterns. And through those patterns, depending upon the frequency and the octave of those patterns, as well as the repetition and consistency that it's utilized in this material and 3D realm, then the more we attune ourselves into those patterns of being. And when I break this down inside my mind, it really helps me simplify how to program myself. So the three key ingredients, as I usually call it, is you know, repetition, consistency, and intention. And through reminding my own self daily of repetition, consistency, and intention, that those are the three things that are going to really help me form the programming and the patterns that I want to attune myself to. So, just from analyzing my own self, my own life, and analyzing other studies about being human, it seems to be a theme that whatever it is that we focus on the most, whatever it is that we continue to repeat and develop a habit with, then we embody and become that. So, with that type of simplistic knowing, then I started diving really deep into doing affirmations consistently, meditating consistently, doing yoga and breath work and all these different things consistently. And also, that's a journey in itself, building consistency. It's a journey of going through emotions, going through self-image with your own self of, oh man, I'm a failure, like, am I even going to be good enough to do this? Or can I do this? Oh, I don't feel like doing it. Why would I want to do this today? All that stuff comes with it. And if you can embrace the failures, you can embrace the hard times and know that it's part of the journey, then that right there is one of the biggest things in itself because you almost become unstoppable. You become like a invincible force because you've already accepted that with your journey, it's going to have ups and downs. It's going to have the ebb and flow. And those challenges help us sharpen ourselves. It helps us be able to have a reason to even utilize our energy and become even more aware of who we are. Um, so, yeah, repetition, consistency, and intention has been huge for me when it comes to reprogramming myself and attuning myself into the individual that I'd like to embody.
Hmm. It's, when I started writing, it has been it's been an interesting journey because you mentioned failure. And when I was younger, every time I had a pen in my hand and I wanted to write down anything that was going on in my mind, like I had so much fear. It was so much that wanted to come through, but I didn't trusted it, and I didn't know how, I didn't want it to make a mistake. So when I started writing around 2 years ago, now I have journals, right, full. But I did it for a week, then I stopped, then I restarted, then I stopped again, and I had to learn to stop judging myself from not being consistent too, or even perceive consistency differently, because I kept picking myself up and I started writing again. Just because I forgot about it, or it just wasn't the day to do so, or whatever. I mean, be kind to yourself, right? And I had to learn to be kind to myself, and I'm still working on that one. Because, who tells me that I should do, that I must do, and all of those things? I'm a born rebel. There's just a rebel in me, It might be the shadow as well. As soon as there are certain rules, or I tell myself I have to do it this amount of times in this time frame, or I just want to show, like, seriously, fuck it, I can do whatever I want to do when I want to do it. It's not that I'm not honoring the thing, but I want to break out the box. And every time I made a plan, it did not work out that way that I planned it would. So there's something to learn here. And, you know, I think we're all so individual and have to find the way that suits us. And I really love to make my like life up as I go, and to make things up as I go through life, you know, and being really, yeah, that's it. You know, if you go with the flow, and like some more, some less are very artistic in that way, you know, some people do need more rules for themselves than others. You know, I do need certain rules, but in my own way, right? It doesn't mean that I have to stress myself out just because I'm not writing today, or I haven't done breathwork in the morning, or like, you know, all we gotta do is be kind to ourselves and learn to sit in whatever feeling is present, because, or emotion, because emotion is energy in motion, and we gotta learn to move with that energy that is current, because it's a guide, you know. Everything that comes as an emotion is a guide for you, and there is a reason why you feel the way you feel. There is a reason why your body tells you to stop exercising, or to go out in nature, or to drink more water. Like, if you just get some hints that you gotta do something, then you gotta do it. But you gotta take inspired action. It does not make any sense to do anything without inspiration. It's sometimes better to do nothing and to learn to sit still and then wait, and then you take action. But if you take unaligned action, like, where you're going, right? We gotta be careful with what we manifest. You know, I came to aim, the principle of aim, like attention, intention, manifestation. You know, like, I gotta pay attention to what I do. I gotta have a clear intention why I do what I do in order for me to manifest what I desire to manifest. You know, and we can even take awareness for the A and inspiration. You know, like, we can be very free in how we interpret things, but we gotta learn through experience what is right for us and what is wrong for us. And if we foolishly keep doing the wrong things, our system is showing us this in form from, you know, our thoughts aren't clear, or I have pain in my body, you know, such as the back pain that I'm currently releasing, and just be in peace with what it's telling me, which is living my truth and being who I am and who I came here to be. You know, we all have to find that. And what I believe is that, and what I truly feel, you know, what you do with the chakra meditations, chakra balancing, you know, you learn to be in tune with your energy, you know, and you maybe can talk a little on that, what it makes for people when they get in tune with those energies.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. Um, think if anybody's curious out there on what this is in my hand that I've been putting on my face, it's called a guatsa. And guatsas come in many different shapes and forms, but they are made of crystal. So this is a jade guatsa. You can also get like a rose quartz, amethyst, and some other crystals. And guatsas are great hygiene tools. Really good for massaging the skin, the face, and the other parts of the body. You can also use it to get knots as well as energy buildup out of your body as well. Then, of course, you're interacting with the crystal metaphysical benefits when you're putting it into your energy field. Um, but yeah, you see these at spas and other health places. Really great tools just to help out with like skin and buildup and inflammation and things like that. So, like, if you're someone, say, you take on a lot of, um, putting the world on your shoulders energy, or taking care of your family and all that type of stuff, or you work a lot, and say you get inflammation and buildup around your shoulders and your wing area and things like that. What you could do is you could take the guatsa, take the edges of the guatsa, and then start massaging it and kind of dig it into those areas around your wing, and then massage it. And that can help integrate some breath with that. It's a really awesome tool. Um, so as far as the chakras, so the main reason why I have a focus of balancing my chakras in the rising. Um, one second. Crystal, she asked what it's called. So it's called a guatsa. And I'll put that in the comments for you guys. Or actually, let me just do this. Here, I'll just pull it up for you guys so you can see. So this is the guatsa right here. It's spelled Guasha. They're very affordable too. I know it says like 30 bucks on here, but you can get them a lot cheaper at other places.
And you gotta tune
And then there's like
into
roller ones too.
we gotta tune into the quality of it, like, really buying those things in trustful sources, from trustful sources. Like, so the energy of the crystal is real potent, because there's some people that are putting radiation in it, or it's just like negativity or whatever. It just isn't as potent as a stone that is collected with care, that is cared for, that is prepared with love, and I mean, if you go into the chakras, you can even talk about how you learn to discern those things even more. Like, you just, intuitively are able to feel and sense if this source that you buy the gem from is trustful.
Yeah, great advice right there. Discernment is definitely a key when working with the energies of life and the energies that we're going to be bringing into our field, especially through something like a crystal. Yeah. So the chakras, so according to my knowledge and the things that I have downloaded, studied, experienced, all of it combined over the years with the chakras, is that our human being has multidimensional layers. And these multidimensional layers, which I'm just going to go ahead and pull up an image to help me out here so you guys can see. These multidimensional layers make up our whole entire human being. Oftentimes, we may think our human being is just a physical body. And you can choose to believe that if you want to, but there is also another perspective that you can go by, and that is that we are multidimensional beings that have many different layers of bodies within our whole entire auric field that make up our whole entire human being, rather than the human being just being a physical body.
Oh yeah.
So as you can see here in this diagram, this diagram shows a very basic and simple diagram that you can find many, many, many of on Google and any other search engine of the layers of the human being. So it's typically known, they say that there's 7 main layers. I'm sure there's more subtle layers within those 7 as well, but for now we're analyzing 7. And with these 7, we have, well, they're really showing 8 here. They didn't count the physical body. So beginning at the physical body, as you can see, is going to be the most formed body. And when I say formed body, that means it's also going to be the most dense body or the most material body. Now, it's also referenced as the most lowest vibrational body that we have. Now, when we say high vibrational, low vibrational, dense, not dense, it's not really about good or bad. It's not about, you know, one's better than the other. It's just talking about rate of vibration, rate of the speed of light of that body. So the physical body is the most dense. It's the most slowest rate of vibration when it comes to these other bodies that we have. So from the physical body, you then have the etheric body. The etheric body is also known as the light body, or the metaphysical body, or the energy body. And then within that etheric body, this is where we have our chakras, our energy centers. Our energy centers are known as metaphysical as well. They are the first dimension or first realm from the physical that's not fully physical or fully pure spiritual light, therefore making metaphysical. And with this placement being very orderly and strategic by the creator of human beings, this energy body or etheric body, along with the chakras, and you can also go ahead and correlate the meridians of our body with this chakra centers as well. 7 chakras that we usually see are called major chakras in a lot of studies. So we also have minor chakras as well, all over our body, probably hundreds. And a lot of these minor chakras are known as the meridians. You look at traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and other practices, their focus is clearing and activating the meridian centers of the body. What's within these meridian centers? Our chi. What is chi? Chi is a supernatural conscious energy that is embedded within the fabric of our being. So when we activate these centers and activate these meridians through different practices like traditional Chinese acupuncture, we then open up these centers to awaken and open up the streamline of our light body consciousness to be able to be present in our physical self. This is the integration of the higher self into the lower self. It's activating our light body blueprint into our physical avatar. As the human being, the physical avatar doesn't have life to it. Life is brought and put into the physical being. This is why when we transition, the physical body deceases and then begins to deteriorate. So the more we have this etheric body or light body clear and activated, then the more life, the more consciousness, the more of the creator spirit we have flowing through our being naturally. And when I say naturally, I mean we don't have to think about it. We don't have to do anything to put ourselves in it. It is flowing through us like the breath, automatically just happening. The more that we have our channels, our chakras, our meridian points online, activated and clear. Now, lastly, what I want to tie in with this as well is that as we can see, there's more layers that go out past layer one, the energy body or etheric body. And the first one from that is the emotional body. So this is our emotional field where our emotions are stored. And if we never in our life ever clear out our emotional body, we never express our emotions or anything like that, then we can quantumly collect this emotional energy and it can build up into density in our field. And that can create manifested patterns. And then next from the emotional body, you have the mental body. This is where our mental energy is stored within our human being. And if we have a lot of mental attachments, a lot of memories, and other things that are bringing toxic and disorienting energies into our field, then they'll get stored in that mental body and they'll continue to circulate there. So then from the mental, you have the astral body. This is when you start stepping into your fourth dimensional body and you start doing Merkaba activations, traveling into different time and space through mental astral projection and astral projection throughout the body as well, through many different techniques and practices. So then you have some more as well. We're not going to really touch on those. So the last thing I want to talk about with all that is when we're walking through life and you guys are seeing this image as a two-dimensional image, but think of this image as three-dimensional and living and constantly in motion. So all of this right now that you're seeing on this image is vibrating and it's in motion and it's continuous, just like we are in this living moment. So as you're going on, this electromagnetic radiant field that our energy and aura is flowing through this field. And due to being electromagnetic beings, which has been scientifically and every other thing proven by now, is that we naturally attract, draw in, and absorb energy around us. Now, through that, it's going to start not at layer 0, but it's going to start at layer 7. So then it comes through layer 7 and then starts to travel through those layers. And then our being, like a tuning fork, is then taking in those vibrations and it's starting to begin to shift the chemistry of ourself. So what you may recognize is that you may think of something in your mental body before you feel it emotionally. Oftentimes we think about something and then what happens after we think about it? Boom, an hour later we get that phone call, or the next day we get that job. So yeah, we pick up on something mentally in the mental body because it's the third layer out. So then after we mentally draw that in and we stop dreaming and thinking and just pondering on things, through that we then feel it through our emotions. And then through the emotions, that is when we are then able to feel it through our psychic and our light body. The light body is also related to our psychic senses, the senses beyond the 5. And the light body, or the psychic body, which is also tied in with the chakras, is then that bridge or that binding point or the portal gateway or layer 7 to 2 to be able to be felt, experienced, and expressed through the physical avatar. So layer 1, the chakras and the energy body, acts as a bridge or a gateway or portals for the mental, emotional, astral, and beyond to be able to vortex and funnel into our physical holographic avatar to be experienced in the fullness and the wholeness of the light and love of Christ consciousness that we are. So the reason why I balance my chakras every rising is because of this knowing, and then also the even deeper knowings of what each of the chakras relate to when it comes to my human life. Each chakra relates and connects you to different dimensions of emotion, mental, and spiritual energy that we experience in our human life. So as soon as one of those is blocked or overactive, then we can begin to start to manifest the imbalanced experiences of those energy centers, mentally, emotionally, and through our physical experiences. So that is a pretty brief, but also pretty in-depth explanation of the chakras, our multidimensional bodies, and why I utilize chakra balancing every rising. Thank you for that space.
Yeah, thank you. You know, you mentioned chi and how chi is actually activating, and this, you know, if you look at the word Reiki, chi, you know, there's that frequency in it. And you know what we learn using Reiki is there's nothing that we actually have to do. You know, it's that universal life force energy that flows through us at all times, you know, and it's way more easy than everyone thinks. The tricky part is to allow it to happen rather than trying to control anything that is out of our control, you know. And what we learn using breath work, you know, or chakra breath work, chakra meditation, you know, balancing our chakras, like what we learn is to really feel those differences in those layers and how they affect our life. And you can only experience it. Like there's nothing, no mental concept is able to give you what the experience itself gives you. So, you know, they're part of you, the chakras. No, it's nothing that is outside. It's actually part of you. And, you know, get to know yourself is important. It's important to tune in, right? Go inward, be busy with those chakras. I really encourage you to do that. And I know that many of your community are already doing it. You know, the people in my field here on Instagram as an example, like they're probably as me like a few years ago. What I don't see, I don't believe in. You know, there's that type of mentality around as well. And I had to experience it firsthand in order for me to know that it has always been there, you know. And we only learn through experience. Any type of mental concept and construct, you know, can be limiting. So we gotta learn to sit back and feel and let it resonate and use certain techniques and tools to tap into that higher mind, higher self of ours, you know, which is again nothing out there. You know, it's something that you allow in. You know, it's something that you allow to be expressed through you. And getting to know those subtle differences in energies, you know, and how they influence you, as in, you know, the mental and emotional, which is like key for many of us as we experience human life in this three-dimensional realm. Like, you know, how many of us are in their thoughts and overthinking, or thinking about what happened and what could happen. And you know, we're always trying to logically make an understanding of things, rather than actually, okay, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at, right here, right now. This is what's current, you know, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. And what am I doing with it? And this is, you know, where alchemy comes into it. When we take what we have, you know, when we see what we have and what we've been given, and then we put it in and we create something with it. Now, sometimes it takes transformation, you know, often it takes transformation. And to transform yourself, to, you know, be born new again, to, you know, integrate the light body, your, you know, those crystalline energies that the Christ is representing. No, we all have it. It's not that crystal is a special one, you know, not more special than you. You know, like, we are all independent beings and gotta take what we have, you know, and learn to utilize what is current, and accept our potential, you know, and let go of the fear of our power, of what we are capable of doing. Because, like, what's holding us back is the fear of our own power, you know, our potential power. Like, you are a magnificent being. And if you look into your history and you look into where are you now, you see what you created. If you're able to be honest to yourself, which is a requirement to do it, to be able to, yeah, see it clearly. You know, there are no more questions or confusions. Like, confusion's the better word, you know, because you know who you are, you know your energy, and therefore whatever is presented to you in the outside world, you're like, ah, okay, you know, you have that inner knowing. You don't need to explain why you know it. You don't even have to know why. But there are certain things you just know. And you learning to tune your chakras to the right frequency, to like have them balanced, all of them, you know, starting with the 7 and further, you know, our chakras in our hands, very powerful ones actually, what we can do with them. So you gotta, even how you touch, this is a topic very dear to me, how you touch, right? And it can be your spouse, it can be your friend, it can be simply taking a cup and the way how you hold it. Are you holding it with grace? Are you projecting any anger onto this cup and putting it down like that. You know, it's something I was observing as a child, how people just were handling like physical things as cups or glasses, and they drink, and there's so much in their mind, yeah, and then they drink and they put it down like that, and just like you feel that vibration, and it's like, whoa. It was always shaking me. Like, I was like, why? And we gotta learn to flow and learn to use our hands wisely. And if we like appreciate life, we learn to shake a hand in a different way, right? To touch a woman in a respectful way, you know, not to make her feel insecure because you're a man and you're strong or whatever, or even children. You know, when I was a young boy, there was like a man in his 50s, like many of them, right? When they were giving you the hand, they were squeezing it, you know, and I'm like, that fucking hurts. And I was asking myself, what do you have to prove? I see that you're a man. I see that you're strong, you know? Like, what do you have to prove? Because how beautiful is it if you touch others the way that you want to be touched? So, over to you, brother.
Wow. I love that, like what you ended on there, because that is such a conscientious thing for me, is the way that I am mentally choosing to move my body with my energy. And it really is like, you can sense the difference for sure, especially when that feeling of having an impulse and being able to ground that impulse and then act after that grounding of the impulse is one of the most supreme feelings that I've felt as a human being. And it's tricky. It's a really tricky one, you know? It's one of those ones where, like, you know, you don't really predict the impulse or the trigger. And due to not being able to predict that, you know, it comes in that unknown space. And then through that unknown space, I feel like that's one of those like greatest opportunities of either growth, lesson, or integration of your knowledge. And I've been really catching myself more and more in those impulsive moments to be that observer or be the higher intelligence of that impulse and allow the impulse to be felt, allow the impulse to happen, but not act or react from the impulse, but sit with it with the higher counsel of my higher mind and analyze it and naturally allow whatever is coming with that emotion to happen, but then to still be in that higher intelligence of, okay, this is what I'm feeling. This is what's happening. Now, what is it that I would like to do with this? Or do I think it would be healthy if I was to run off from this person all because I'm triggered? Or should I really just sabotage or put an end to all this because of an impulse moment right now? Where in the past, it used to be like, trigger, impulse, wanting to run away from it, wanting to just end something, not have to face it. Um, but it's really interesting too, because like when you sit through that, for me at least, I start to see that there's many opportunities coming from it and coming to the other side of it because of my patience to ground with it, to stay centered and allow that chaoticness that only lasts so long to have its moment and then start passing through for that newfound clarity. And it's the path of the Jedi, you know. It's not everybody's path. It's the path of the Jedi, and it's not the easiest. That's for sure. And I just want everybody to know that I don't say that this stuff is easy at all when I explain it and bring it up, but it's to be talked about for those that like to take the path that isn't as easy, because it's the path of the straight and narrow for their authentic self.
You know, like the responsibility, right, to have something happen, and the way that you then actually respond, the more and more you practice patience, the more you learn to harness the meditative state, you bring space between the moment that something happens and you, rather than reacting just out of programming, out of fear, out of whatever, and actually taking it in, grounding the information, and then responding. This is so powerful, and it gets easier and easier the more we harness the meditative state, the more we really embody love and practice patience with ourselves and the process. We gotta be kind to ourselves when things do not work out the way that we intended to. And, forgiveness is a big part. Learning to forgive and see the value, be wise and choose strength, right? To take in all that is. And, if you accept life, if you accept yourself and what others do, no matter if you like it or not, you don't have to like everything to be in love. You don't have to fall in love when you are love, right? Something that I came to. People want to fall in love, but do I really have to fall in it? Not sure about that. And love is something so beautiful. And I have a friend, he says that many people, how they interpret love is different to what love actually is, you know? So we gotta experience love first. And in order for us to, like, not mentally, like, conceptualize it, but to experience it and carry the frequency of love. Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Mm.
Hmm. Yeah, man. That's a nice expedition.
Yeah. And there was something else I was gonna say too, was this has been such a relief in my life lately, because I'm very empathic. Of course, I'm a very big server of the world when it comes to all these different things and everything. And of course, with that, it comes the lessons of, knowing boundaries, knowing what works for you the best when it comes to your energy and efficiency, your absorption rate, as well as your giving rate, all these different things that you got to be present with yourself. And through all that, the thing that's really came to my core awareness lately has been, I'm not here. I'm not here to be on anybody else's time. I'm not here to be on the corporation's time. I'm not here to be on, what everybody else wants me to do, and like how they feel and their opinion of me, and when they want me to be doing something. Now, of course, there's consent that I can have and that I can make with people to collaborate and be on time for certain things. But the reason why I say this is because a lot of us as human beings are living our life based off of the world. We're living our life based off of our family. We're living our life based off of what people online are telling us. And, a lot of us are really disregarding our own intuition, disregarding our own feelings, the things that make us the most happiest in our inner child, all because we want to, people please or be codependent, base our value and worth off of the world. And for me, I've been embracing through hard lessons of those type of behaviors that it's okay to remember the eternalness of what we are when it comes to our connection with the oneness. And through that eternalness, you really do have all the time that you could want or need to answer a question, make a life decision, to tell someone your answer. It doesn't have to be like pressure all the time, feeling forced and obligated to do something that makes you feel very out of balance with yourself. So I just want to give that reminder that, you can listen to your intuition and you can take your time on things, knowing that there is the next eternal moment that's going to happen. And you'll be able to make another choice for your soul and your spirit in that next eternal moment. And I say this because I know a lot of us, especially myself, like someone want to schedule something with me, or they'll just want to right away do something and say you like just met them. It's like I used to be that person who would be like, I just met them, they want to do something, then I'm just like instantly answering without discerning and like sitting with myself and like really sitting with it for a day or two, before I answer and make a commitment. So then what I find is afterwards, come time, I never even felt aligned with it in the first place. And then I'm already doing something I didn't feel aligned with. And then I'm doing it and I just feel off. And it's just like, it's not what I really wanted in my core of the being. And through that, I just started really learning like, okay, why do I feel this way when I'm starting to come time to this thing? Oh, it's because it wasn't really resonating with me. It wasn't in alignment with what I truly wanted. I just impulsively said yes because I didn't want to say no, or I was afraid to say no or something. And yeah, so just remembering that eternal space that you have been given by the Creator as an individual to be able to be at your own free will, 100% of this is when I'm going to answer. I want to discern for myself. I want to be able to sit with my own self before I make this decision. And that is absolutely okay to do with anybody and anything, no matter if it's your family, job, whatever it may be. And if they infringe upon that boundary or they infringe upon that, then it's then up to you at your own free will of how you want to act according to them breaking that boundary. Now, that's completely up to you, but just know that, like, if it is something that feels like it's not respecting you and that it's crossing the boundaries, then another part of having faith and trust in the divine is that there's a lot more things out there for you, and your spirit will guide you, attract, and lead you to another opportunity if you close that door, especially because you're standing up for yourself, your truth, and your love with the one. So I think I want to leave off there with my final words of this episode. Just give that beautiful, gentle reminder that we can stand in our power, we can have boundaries, we can respect ourselves if something doesn't feel right in our intuition. And just know that you're in the eternal flow. We are here. We are in these eternal moments of illusion, creating illusion after illusion to sit here and transform and ultimately play as soul to soul with each other. Any closing words, brother man?
Yes, sir. Something very simple that helped me a lot and a dear friend of mine as well, which is every no, right? Saying no. Every no is also a yes. If you say no to something, you say yes to yourself. Yes for something else that is in alignment with you. So don't worry to say no just because, you know, it's time to move and talk differently, to hang out with new people, to, you know, change up some things and transform. Like, you gotta learn to say no, and you free yourself with that. The yes that comes from the divine when you say no, like, this is how you open up new timelines, right? So we gotta learn to say no.
I agree, man. I agree. Because there's always, there's always infinite possibilities of timelines that can happen. So like, as soon as we say no to one, then all right, there's still the other infinite more to be able to be presented.
I had a dream 2 nights ago where I was shown the concept of time. I'm still processing it. Like, you told me that you started seeing time in a new way, and like just like learning to handle it in a new way, and something very similar. And even with the numbers of 1 to 9 and how they play in it and the infinity loop. Like, it's been horrific. Because the feeling that came with it was the same feeling that I had in dreams as a child when I thought I would die, but I couldn't. So there is this endlessness, you know, the void of creation, where people like where the ego starts to fear because the existence stops. You know, but there is so much possibility in it. And yeah, man, it was very deep.
Wow, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. We choose. You know, I really want to make one thing clear: we choose. And you mentioned it before too. It's, and I say it differently, it's in our hands. It's in our hands. You know, God is giving you the hand. Are you taking it, or are you not too sure about that? There's this famous picture. It's up to you if you take that hand, because it's handed down to us all, depending on what we do with it in time, to experience growth and evolution and have beautiful expeditions, like, you know.
That's right. Beautiful expeditions, just like you can tap in for more expeditions on every Friday with us. So with that being said, this does it for episode 1 of the Friday Expedition. Thank you guys all for tapping in, whether you're live on IG, Facebook, or YouTube. Thank you to all of you that will be tapping in another time and space at the present moment. If you have any comments, feedback, questions, anything to expand and add to the conversation, please feel free to drop it in the comments. We'd love to see it. We'd love to even maybe share it in the public for you guys. And then if you guys are intrigued in potentially being a guest to talk about these esoteric, hermetic, divine, different principles and teachings and wisdom experiences of life, reach out and we may be open to having you on as a guest. And for everybody else out there, you can catch us on Fridays. And I believe we're going to be moving it 1 hour ahead. So it'll be 3 p.m. Eastern time. And then that'll be 9. How do you even say it over there? I don't even know how to say yours.
Man, it's just like... Usually we go in 24-hour periods, but like you can say 9 p.m., you know, 9 p.m. Central European Standard Time, I think it is. Oh, something like that. Est, like CEST or something like that. European time. Like if you go hook up
like
time in Germany, Berlin, then you're on the right path. Yeah.
Is it like a GMT?
GMT, man, I'm not too like all of those things. I don't care about.
Neither do I, but for everybody out there, you guys can just look up EST. It'll be 3 p.m. EST on Fridays.
You know, I'm in Germany. It's like 9 p.m. my time. I think we're moving time next week or something like that. You know how smart we are. Like we can move time these days.
Right. So funny.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
All right, brother man.
Yeah.
It was really good having this with you.
Blessings, brother. Blessings.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a blessed and beautiful night over there.
Thank you watching, everyone. Really good time. And you know that you are blessed in every moment. allow it to be.
Ashe. Wholeness and balance love.